one day at a time. One day at a time, sweet Jesus, that's all I'm asking from you. Just give me the strength to do every day what I have to do. Because yesterday's gone, sweet Jesus, and tomorrow may never be mine. Lord, for my sake, teach me to take one day at a I'm only human. I'm just a woman. Help me believe what I could be and all that I am. Show me the stairway I have to climb. Lord, for my sake, teach me to take one day at a time. One day at a time, sweet Jesus, that's all I'm asking from you. Just give me the strength to do every day what I have to do. Yesterday's gone, sweet Jesus, and tomorrow may never be mine. Lord, for my sake, teach me to take one day at a time. Do you remember when you walked among men? Jesus, you know, if you're looking below, it's worse now than then. Cheating and stealing, violence and crime. So for my sake, teach me to take one day at a time. One day at a time, sweet Jesus, that's all I'm asking from you. Just give me the strength to do every day what I have to do. Because yesterday's gone, sweet Jesus, and tomorrow may never be mine. Lord, for my sake, teach me to take one day at a I'm only human. I'm just a woman. Help me believe what I could be and all that I am. Show me the stairway I have to climb. Lord, for my sake, teach me to take one day at a time. One day
Beloved, I bring you greetings from the Inside Studios, and you are watching The Virtuous Woman. I am your host, Susie Osikene Georges. As parents, we bear the responsibility to raise our children with the hope and conviction that they will grow to become better adults in the future. At a point, we expect them to bear their own responsibilities and be governed by them. But until then, it is also responsibilities as parents for their total well-being. As Christians, raising God-conscious children with the sense of civic responsibility is not easy, but we know it is not impossible because we know with our God all things are possible. What we need is effective parenting. We know parents face lots of challenges when it comes to raising children. And so, as promised from the Inside Studios and the Virtuous Woman, we want to go through a parenting series. We have done the parenting skills, and today we want to take another aspect of parenting, which is the parenting challenges. And to help me do this is a couple who are matured and have better experience in this. Let me quickly introduce them to you. They are a couple, so I want to be the one to describe them to you because I have lived with them and I know them. They are a couple who have been married for closely 38 years. This year, November, is going to be 38 years that they've been married. They are parents to many, but biologically, they have been blessed with 3 beautiful children. Of course, the 2 girls are already married and they are already grandparents to 3 beautiful children. And so, as I told you, they have experience in that. They also have a boy, which means they have 2 girls and a boy. And so they have much experience to share with us. Today we want to go very practical. We want to know much about some of the challenges they have faced or challenges parents are facing, so that it will help me, it will help you also in our journey of parenthood. And so, help me welcome Mr. Elder and Mrs. Samuel Tando. That is the Nigerian way, but I want to introduce them to you singularly. We have our mommy, Dickness Margaret Tando. Mommy, you are very much welcome to the Inside Studios.
Thank you.
And then we have our daddy, who is Elder Samuel Kwesi Tando. He is very conscious about his name, so let me not make a mistake. He is Elder Samuel Kwesi Tando. Daddy, you are very much welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Wow, this is the Virtuous Woman, and it is a privilege to have you with us. We want you to take us through some of the challenges parents face. We know it is a great challenge in today's world, and we don't want to make mistakes. We want to learn so that we will not go through most of the challenges. At least when parents are raising us, they tell us they don't want us to make the mistakes they made. So we don't want to go a long way. We want to have a little shortcut so that we can do our job well as parents. And so this is Elder and Mrs. Tando. I'll pose quickly my first question to them so that they can help us in parenting. Daddy and mommy, when we say parenting challenges, or when can we say a parent has a challenge?
Okay. Let me come from this angle. Let me say quickly that for you to have said that you need a shortcut, let me say that generally speaking, in fact, but some shortcuts are dangerous. Not all shortcuts are short. So you need to be aware of that. Well, you see, basically, as for us as Christians, children are given to us as a blessing from God. It does not mean that if you are not a parent, I mean, like biologically, you are not blessed. It was in the times of the Old Testament days, and if you have so many children, where it was a sign that you are blessed. But in our times and era, things have changed. So we don't have to look at it that well, you are blessed because you have children, or perhaps you are not blessed, you are under a curse because you don't have a child, and it's absolutely wrong. But the truth of the matter is that basically God gives you the children, and you are the custodian. So we are called into stewardship. You understand? So we have to be careful. We have to go by the guidelines of God. Bible says that God is just godly seed. So you have to bring the children in that line. And for the fact that we get prepared to bring the child, we get our readiness to bring the children the way God wants us to bring them. That is exactly what we have to do. If we don't do that, then we are going to face a challenge. Of course, I'm not saying that if things go rosy, we don't have any challenge, but I mean, you face those challenges when you have not done the homework, when the initial stages were wrong. You understand? So, I mean, as the Bible says, now if the foundation is destroyed,
what can the
righteous do? Understand? So when you have destroyed the foundation, then of course you are going to face challenges. That's how I can say that.
As Daddy said, it is not the one who the person who gives birth is the one who is a parent. My grandma always says in Ghana, "Mukume for shije mukume lo," which means that it is only one person who gives birth, but it is not that person, or it's not the only one who has to raise the child. So let me say that this is the best opportunity for you to share the video to anyone you know, not only parents, guardians, anyone you know who is also aspiring to be parents. Share the video with somebody to help them. I believe it will not only help parents, or it will not only help you watching, but if you are able to send it to somebody, your child may find him or herself somewhere who needs to be helped by another parent, and the person needs to have knowledge on how to help that child at that particular time. So we are all learning. Your child may find him or herself somewhere that I will be. My child will also find him or herself somewhere that you will be. So please take just a minute, share the video with somebody so that it will help us all to make better decisions in our parenting. Wow. So can we say that parenting is the hardest job on earth?
Okay. That should not be the point that parenting is the hardest job. But sometimes it becomes, you may face challenges, or it becomes hard because of certain things that are happening. So when God, like the Bible says that God has given us the grace to do all things. So God, we have known by now that children are gifts from God. And we have also known that every gift is perfect. So since it is a gift from God and they are perfect, we will not say it's a problem for us. But it depends on how we go about it. So that if we know they have been given to us by God, then whatever situation we may find ourselves in parenting, we have to turn to God, who is able to do all things. So we should not make it like it is something, so that even the ones that are coming up may say, oh, if this is what is going on, then it's okay. But we should know that they themselves, they are not a situation or a problem for us. But when we face certain situations, and we turn to God, He's able to help us so that we'll be able to do all things.
Wow, yes. We know that there are much more rewarding aspects of being a parent, and that should outweigh the challenges that we may face. So anytime you are falling into that situation saying it is difficult, be encouraged, because there are much more rewarding aspects. And so then I will ask, what are some of the factors that have or that will influence parents, or that influences parents today? The factors that affect or that makes parenting difficult, that makes the parenting difficult. Some of the factors, because we live in a complex world where things have changed. It is not like some time ago, as we said, Daddy said earlier on. Those days you are not raised only by your parents, but as a community, as a society, we all help in raising. Today it is much more like it is narrowing only to parents, because you cannot spank or shout at another parent. So what are some of the factors that has resulted in this kind of situation, or parents having challenges?
Okay, I think globally, if truth be told, things have changed. Seriously, we live in the computer world. There are so many things happening. Children are exposed to this social media thing, and it's causing more harm than good. Even though I'm obviously have a lot of things coming from the social media. So globally, if I say I'm a big problem, you might tell your children not to use the computers or the social handles in the way that they shouldn't. But children to some degree are inquisitive. They might want to find their way out. So that is one thing. The other factor is for us who are in the diaspora, especially for those of us who are in Europe and maybe the Americans. We live, in a cross-cultural environment. You see, for us coming from Africa or precisely Ghana, the kind of training, even now, the kind of training that children are receiving in Ghana is completely different from what they are receiving in Europe. It does not mean that everything in Europe is bad. No, it's never so. So you as a parent, you must know how to blend the two and be able to identify the things that are good with the system here. And forget about those things like, my father used to, if I lay his table and he's eating, I have to stand by him and put my hands at my back and do this and a whole lot of useless things. You understand? Yeah. So we have to know some of the things that we have seen here in Europe that are good. You understand? So we blend the two. And then, in fact, one thing I want to say is that we must not forget to teach our children our local language. That in itself, in fact, you may not know, but it gives the child some identity. It gives the child some identity. So now when you want to instruct the child in a particular way, now he or she will identify him or herself that, I come from this place. I understand it. Now, for instance, for me, Andy was born here. And as soon as he was born, I gave instruction in the room. Nobody should speak Italian to him. Nobody should speak Italian to him. At home. So Andy, among his peers, could speak easily. Easily. You understand? I'll say that in fact it was his good understanding of P that made him able to play the instrument, because he could listen to our songs you could understand them, you could dance the way you should dance, and so you first, you could easily play the drums, and then he went on and on and on. You understand? So it's very, very important. We live in a cross-cultural environment now. So if you're not careful, I mean, it's something when you meet a child, a Ghanaian child who about 15, 20 years, who cannot speak Twi or Amigan, is very bad. You understand? You have to give the child the identity. And so that when you get to a point where you want to give some instruction, I mean, what he or she will understand why you are giving that instruction. It's very, very important.
Wow, we should teach our children our local language. That will help them. Even when you are at a particular place that you don't need to speak a language everybody understands, it can be a means of communication for you. Then you will correct the child that particular time, and it is also good. But that in the case where we, the parents, we don't speak fluently or very well the local language, how then do we teach the children?
No, at least as somebody who lived in Ghana for about 10, 15 years, you should be able to speak the language. It's not about the fluency, understand? It's not about the fluency, but at least you can speak quite well, so you should be able to teach the child local dialects. It's very important.
Does the challenge a parent face in raising a child, does it differ in terms of age, sex, or the environment? Yeah, you have spoken about that earlier on, but in terms of age and sex, does it differ? I hear lots of people say, okay, it is easier to raise girls. But if you are to ask my daddy, I don't know what he will say because he has 4 girls. But to somebody who also have boys, who say boys are very, very difficult to be raised. So as to challenges parents face, does it differ in terms of age and the sex of the children?
Yeah, can I add something to what the question that you spoke about before we get to this one?
Yeah.
Now, what I wanted to say is that looking at the systems around and the generation that we are in, we should not wait for the system to define what our children should be for us. We must set a goal for ourselves so that even when the system is around, because the child knows that this is what has been implanted in me, so that thing, the system or the generation that we are in and the things that are going around it will not harm them or have effect on them, because already we have set something in them so that thing will guide them and lead them. So it is very important that we should not allow that, because we are in this generation, because we are in this system, so we are all in, let it go. No, we must set priorities for our children so that those things will not change them.
Yeah, okay, so to the question that you asked, in fact, sincerely, for all things being equal, it is true to a certain degree that it's easier raising girls than boys, especially here in Europe.
Okay.
Especially here in Europe, yes, it's easier because boys are easily influenced by their peers. Understand? Boys are easily influenced by their peers. The other side concerning sex is that we must know as parents that girls mature faster than boys. So there are certain things that pertain to girls that you as a mother, in fact, the father could do some, but not all anyway. So you can be able to handle your girls in a particular way as they are growing, which of course will not pertain to the boy. You understand? So you as a parent, you must be able to know how diverse the whole thing is. The boy training and the girl training, they are obviously not the same. Generally speaking, it's true. It's more difficult training the boy or and then the boy than the girl.
Wow, I've always thought raising girls is much more difficult because you are always anxious. You would always be anxious about them in their choices of friends, like especially in being adolescent, not to bring you like a teenage pregnancy, which is will be on them as girls. But if it's a boy, it's not visible, so at least you can handle it in another way. But with girls, it is obvious and it's plain that they are facing this kind of, or they are in this kind of situation. Wow, thank you so much for that insight.
Okay, let me say a little thing back.
Okay.
Yes, because the girls they are easy to be kept. So that in a way, because girls are soft and so, though some girls are very hard, but generally, girls are a little bit easier. They are soft to be handled. That is why we say that it is difficult for the boys.
Oh, okay. I believe that you have packed down to give us information or give us more of the challenges that we parents are facing. And so, Daddy and Mommy, I'll give you the chance to walk us through some of the challenges parents face in today's world.
Okay, now some of the challenges, like I said, one of the fundamental challenges, is the exposure to things, like social media and things like that. So like Mommy was saying at the point, you have to set the babies for them. If you don't do that, and the tree begins to burn, you don't correct it, then of course you are going to have a bit of problem, for sure. So right from the beginning, right from the onset, you have to know that God has. You see, the one thing that we sometimes, even as Christians, we misinterpret the scripture, like the scripture that says that train up the child the way he should go, and when he goes, you not depart from it. We only think of it as, as taking the child to church. It involves so many things that even the career, you understand, that you don't lead them to their passion. Of course, their passion is good, and their part, if you don't take care, they'll be directed. So you as a parent, you have to be alert. But you have to be able to discern what a career path this child is going to go. And then there could be conflict because the child wants to go here, and then you, the parent, you also want another path. But the most important thing is that, for which so many parents are fail, is that we look at the things that what society is going to give to our children, but we have to bring our children up to know what they'll be able to give to society. So even if now you want the child to be a doctor, now you have to inculcate that attitude in the child that if I'm going to be a medical personnel, I'm going to work in a way that I'm going to help society. It's not just that I go to the medical field as a nurse or a doctor. All I'm interested in is money. You understand? So you have to bring a child in that way. If you do that, it will be very easy to handle those things.
Wow.
I will add a little to it, like the career. Some of the parents, some of us, we are failed in that area because sometimes you ask a parent a kind of subject or career that the child is doing, and he has no idea about it. He has no idea. So here I would say that we should get involved in everything that our children are doing. And like the career, sometimes a parent will, like you said from the beginning, most of African parents will want their children to become doctors and lawyers and engineers. These three these three professions. Yeah, but sometimes we have to be cautious, knowing the strength of the child. I heard a story that somebody has become a medical doctor, and he says he has nothing, no passion, nothing for this, but he did it for the parents. Now, a medical doctor going out there, taking care of people and has no passion, you can think what will happen. So parents, we should not force the children to do the things that they don't have interest in them. But then we should guide them. We should guide them. We should guide them. Maybe you will say, hey, if my child wants to do this, me, I don't have any knowledge. You must, by all means, there are people who have gone ahead of the career that your child wants to do, or you want the child, you are advising the child to do. Seek information from those people. Let them direct you so that you'll be able to allow them to do. Else we will sit somewhere and we'll allow the children to do whatever they want, and at the end of the day, it is not going to help.
Wow, Mommy, it seemed like we going to school, we found ourselves in the house. We know we are in an African home. When we go out, it's another world altogether. I remember when we were going to school here, we had lots of conflicts with that kind of situation, because we need to mingle with them, because it will, in a positive way, it will help us make connections, maybe in finding a job, or maybe it is this is a system. We have to mingle. But African parents makes it like you don't need to mingle with the whites. You don't have to go where they go. You don't even have to go out with them when they are going for social gatherings and all that. So it's like we have that conflict of, we live inside our home is Africa, and outside our home another world altogether, and it makes it very difficult. So as you said, parents, it is very difficult for parents to decide. Most of the times it's like you decide for us what we want to do, but we also have our passion. So how do we put together our passion and what you have seen in us that we can do in order to make the right career choice?
Okay, like I was saying, for me, like all of my three children, we did not choose for them. We allowed them to choose what they are able to do. But what we did is that, like the two girls, they just signed. So we had a doctor friend, a professor in Chivili, that we consulted that this is the subject or the profession that our children want to take. Since we don't have any knowledge about them, we went to him, and the man directed. I quite remember, for our first daughter, we went to him. The second daughter, we went to him, and he advised us that, because my second daughter was doing a dentist course in secondary school, but the man gave us this thing that, yes, she can do it, but after the course, it might be difficult to find a job. Why? Because here, in the environment that we are in, they have their personal studios, so that this family, it has become like a family property. So before this, the grandfather lives there, he makes sure the son will take over. And when the son is going, he'll make sure a nephew, like it goes the family. So even though you be studying, but you find it difficult to get a job. So we took that advice. We explained to her. She understood. So when she gets to university, he changed the course and did another thing. So we should not leave them out, and we should involve them. Even seeking counsel, we should go with them so that they will know what we are saying, or they will understand, so that we will not force them to do what at the end they will be regret.
Of course, we are not good, or we are not better in the language, so it is okay we go with the children for them to know, and talk with, as Mommy said, talk with experts, because we don't know, we don't have much information. If your son or your daughter wants to go into the medical field, you don't know what to tell him or her to understand whether you see her going the right way. So speak to experts. African parents in the Europe or wherever you find yourself, speak to experts when it comes to career, because once you cannot go to school for 6 years or 10 years and then say you only did it for your parents, but it is not your passion. That would be very difficult, or it will sadden a parent's ear if he needs to hear this from you. So parents, help us to make the right choice. What children also, guide yourself, associate yourself with the right people, seek for information, and then with the help of God, we know we can make a better choice in our career. I read some article, and then they are saying, experts say that it is not, we don't need to raise our own children. The statements really, let me go there and read as it was written. It says what? Parents should raise, or we need to parent the child we have. Parent the child you have, and not the child you wish you had. Daddy, with this statement, do you agree to it? Parent the child you have, and not the one that you wish you had.
Okay, partly right and partly not in the best language. What I'll say is that, in fact, just like we're talking about our career choices. You see, basically as parents, you are supposed to guide the children. If you think you want the child to be a doctor, so whatever the case is, the child might be a doctor, and therefore, if the child has not the ability and the determination, the passion, but you force the child to do it, it means you're only losing the child that will want, what you want, not the child that you have. So it will have to be, a two-way affair. You see, a bit of yours and a bit of, but like I said, what is the most important thing is that we bring the child to fear God, to the degree that he or she will learn to give something to society. It's very important. If you're looking at only what I'm going to get because my child is going to be a lawyer, perhaps a magistrate, a judge, or something like that, to be bad for you. But you allow the child and become halfway. If it's okay for him or her, fine. Or gradually, you help and guide him or her to the right path. I believe the right way out.
Okay, so it is both. It is not entirely right and it's not entirely wrong, but it is both. You need to go with both of the statements, like follow the passion, okay, but it is not also that you want to raise a child that you want, like to make him, example, to make the child become a doctor, and so you don't look at the child's passion. Wow. Let's go to our Facebook and to see our family. I can see Judith Ekia Asante. She's saying, see how they are lovely, my parents. She's going for her parents. Yes, we see Elsie saying, our role models. God bless you, mom and dad, we love you. Lots of love from Elsie and Judith to you. We have our mommy, Grace Mamble Dazi, watching. Mommy, thanks for being with us. She said, mommy and daddy, God bless you. We have Mr. Osikeni. He says, the foundational, mercy, Lord. Efia Chewa says, God bless you, mommy and daddy. Everybody is happy to have you with us. Efia Chewa also saying, with these teachings, I believe Elsie will give you 2 more. Elsie will give you 2 more. Okay.
You're waiting for her to come to Italy.
Okay, it's summer, it's holiday, so we are waiting for you to come around so that the do will do so fast. Judith is saying, hey, sir, girls easier. Okay, Judith, you have only one. Of course. Mommy says girls is quite easier than, generally speaking, raising girls is quite easier than raising boys. Judith is also saying, deep statement, parents and child should have, not the child. Okay, so like she's saying, you need to parent the child you have and not the child you wish you have. Yeah, it's a deep statement that we need to consider. And we have our also for Mami, Wilhelmina Mami AC4 sent from My Faith, My Womb. She's watching, she's sending us some love. Thank you so much for being with us. Of course, we shall be with you this evening on the My Faith, My Womb show. She says, I'm blessed to be here. Great nuggets. Thank you so much. So for Mami Wilhelmina. And let's go to YouTube and see what we have there. Okay, we have our Mr. Osikeni saying, writing to Daddy saying, it's Kwesi and not Akwesi. I told you, Daddy is particular about his name, and we all make mistakes. So today we have corrected ourselves. It's Kwesi and not Akwesi. Yeah, Mr. Osikeni is saying shortcuts are dangerous. Of course, I am still learning. We are learning to unlearn so that we will make better decisions. I thought there was a shortcut in parenting so that we will not go a long run, but we need to go through what we need to go through as parents in order to be or to have better children in the future. Ma Olivia is saying, lots of love for this couple. Nice talk. Thank you so much, Ma Olivia. We'll go into our discussion again. I have heard lots of parents say, or lots of children lament and says that most of the time we parents, we do one thing and then we expect them to do the same thing, we expect them to do another thing. For example, when trying to keep your children from spending so much time on the internet or the television and all that, but they still see us that we do the same thing. So it's like we do one thing and then we ask them to do another thing. Daddy, what do you have to say about that?
Children will have to understand that, especially in the days when they are in school, if you are not able to apportion your time, and properly, you know the time that you spend in school, you come home with your bus or whatever, there's a time for you to have your lunch, there's a time for you to like refresh yourself, watch a little bit of TV, do this and do that. And then you have time also to go back to your books. Now, we even though we are parents, we are still learning, but it's not as intensive as them, understand, as the children. So you have to understand where we are coming from. In your days, that is your goal. You have to put every effort in it, understand? Yeah, so that you don't grow up as a familiar and regret that, oh, my daddy did not tell me, or did not push me to study. It was just, I enjoyed the ride. So but yeah, this is your time that you must study. And so you have to give more of your time in the bush rather than on telly.
Most of the time when I'm with the children, those I teach, when I tend to explain why parents do what they do, they will say, okay, see, because you were a parent, so you try to defend them. And I always tell them, when you grow up, you will not do differently. What parents want for you is to set your priorities right. And then no parent will push you into danger. Whatever they are doing today is for your own betterment, but it is only that you don't understand. And they always have to tell me, no, parents don't understand what we go through. They don't want to hear what we have to say. They always want to instruct us on what they want us to do. But I hope that we will all grow up. They will all grow up to come and understand why parents do what they do.
Okay. Can I add something?
Yes, mommy, you can.
That I want the children to know that if a parent is telling you not to spend too much of your time on social media, it is because she wants the best for you.
Mm-hmm.
I will take my daughter Judith as an example.
Mm.
She did not go to Facebook until after she graduated.
Mm.
And in fact, some of the friends were teasing her,
Mm-hmm.
but it was good for her because she knew that when she get there, it will disturb her. So she understood, and she was out of Facebook after she graduated. And he went to Facebook. So it is because we want the best for you. That is why maybe the parents will tell you that you should not use your time like that.
So it is discipline, you see. Sometimes it is difficult as a child, like you are out there, you see your friends do some things, and we know it is quite difficult for you to stay away. On my street where I live, on Thursday evening, you can see lots of children going to disco, passing. I can stay at the window and watch, and I ask, do their parents know where they are going? Or you see them very late in the night somewhere. Then when I see them, the only thing I say, God, if my child should find him or herself in such a place, God, just cover him or her and bring him back home. I ask, are the parents, do they know where their children are? I know sometimes it's difficult because we are torn apart two things. We want to please our friends, and then we also want to please our children, our parents. But what should outweigh everything about this is our priorities, and then our goal, what we want to attain in the future. That should sideline everything that will prevent you from getting to your goal, and it is very important. And the responsibility much more lies on us as parents, what we do before our children. Thank you so much, mommy and daddy, for this kind of information you are giving to us. Let me read it. It is said that one of the most common challenge of parents today is effective discipline. Deciding on how to discipline a child and what kind of discipline measures to be implemented. Sometimes it's difficult when it comes maybe a boy or a girl. Mommy and daddy, what are some of the disciplinary measures we can put or we can implement in raising our children?
Okay, before we get to the measure itself, we first have to come to the place where we are able to determine that the wrong that this child has done, is it because of like the ignorance, the fact that he or she is a child and so does not know, or it's meanwhile rebellious, being rebellious. So that that's what is going to determine what kind of, perhaps if I've told you that you don't have to do this, and then you do it again, it means, well, that it could be that perhaps I did not communicate it well, so I have to check myself and know whether I did communicate well or I did it. If I'm sure I did communicate well, perhaps I might tell you another time. I told you first time some time ago, 2 weeks ago, a week ago, that don't do this, you have done it again. So perhaps I'll give you the benefit of the doubt. I'll let you go. You understand? But if you do it again, well, that means you are being rebellious. Then I have to come on you. But if you do something that it's just obvious that you did it because you are ignorant, you didn't know. It was going to be so. I'm gonna sit down, talk to you well, and then tell you no. You didn't have to do this because if you do this, it's going to turn out this way or that way. Understand? So it depends on either the child is being rebellious or he or she is ignorant. And so, I don't know whether you are confused.
Yeah, I wanted to say about the discipline. I think we cannot define one thing that we must go on this way because we are coming from different areas. So it depends on this particular family and how the training that you have given to your children. We know you may choose to beat your child, and we cannot say that every family should beat when the child goes wrong. That like Daddy was saying, even when you beat him, you must first make him understand that
why you are beating.
Because sometimes, because of anger, we fail to control ourselves. Then we'll be insulting and do it without even pointing out what the child has done. So it depends on every family. It depends on every family. So we will not say that when I went to this family, I saw how the father was beating the child with belt, so you come to your house and you do the same thing. It might not work. Maybe yours it should be like sitting the child down and talking to him or her. So it depends on our various families.
Yeah, but obviously it's not the best that you use. Yeah, even the Bible says that if you spare the Lord, you spoil the child. Yes. About a certain degree, it's not just about the rod by way of spanking the child, you understand? But I mean a way of discipline that you could even allow like you ground the child from certain things, or you say you are going to like kneel down for a moment or do something. It's not just a matter of I know. In fact, I remember when I was young. No, my auntie came to live with us in Tema, and she went through somehow. My grandfather, folded the king in his bag and brought it all the way from China. You understand? Yeah, Tema. Yeah, we're living a different era altogether. So you might be able to diversify the way that will bring the children's attention to what we are talking about. It's very important.
Let me say this one thing. I've lived with mommy. I've seen mommy several times, and I have always wanted to ask her how she does this. I know. Judith is not an easy bone to chew, or let's say raising Andy is not easy. He's a boy, but there are times I've seen mommy like in public that they may have misbehaved, or she needs to talk to any of them. To me, it could be in anger because the child has misbehaved, but she has some kind of calmness to talk to you. I don't know whether she is calm over it and then later she will talk, or I don't know how she goes about it. And I've always planned to ask her, mommy, how do you do that? Because sometimes you are forced to like yell at the child at that point in time and maybe spank or talk to the person, but she will do it calmly. And I don't know, what is the secret, mommy?
Okay, like the Bible rightly said that soft answer turns away wrath. So we should not wait like you were saying. In a way, I may be correcting, but you know, seem like very hard. Yeah, and I think in that way that I chose to do, it works also. They will not take it for granted that, oh, because my mother saw me doing this and she was not very angry, or she was not like doing this, so I will not take it. But that is the way I see that it is working. So there's no need to shout on them, be angry, go over the board. But if that way it is working, then maybe it may not be everybody, but that is what I have seen and I've noted.
Wow. So, Debbie, when we are talking about the disciplinary measures, there is one thing that I wanted to point out, like letting your child experience pain of natural consequence. Do you agree with that? And in what cases can you intervene and in which do you allow them to make their own mistake and then learn from the consequence?
Okay, now let me come from this angle. There's this one man of God, I've forgotten his name. He's a Ghana, I've forgotten his name. If it comes back, I'll tell you. No, he once said something. We used to say that experience is the best teacher, but sometimes the school fees is too much. And then, okay, no problem. You see, it is not always the best for you to say that, let me allow my children to experience their own, to go through their own stuff, and when they happen to get into their mistakes, they might learn from it. There are some of the mistakes you do that you may not be able to come back. Understand? Let's say, for instance, as a young girl, you go out of your way and then you get pregnant. You are in school. So even if you are, the best case scenario, you're able to give birth and then go back to school. In fact, you have delayed your you have waited. You have wasted some time. And if you're not careful, you may not be able to come back. There are certain situations like you get into. Now we don't expect some of these things to come on our children, but you get into things like drug addiction and things like that. It might be very, very difficult. You understand? So there are some mistakes that you commit. If you're not careful, you may not be able to come back. So it's better for you as parents to teach the child to fear God, to have a personal relationship with God. You understand? So whether he or she is at home, in fact, it is said by psychologists that now whatever a child is able to do before the parents, he or she is able to do it about 5 times outside. So you as a parent, at least you must be able to speak about something that don't do this, don't do that, you understand? But if you are silent, then it means, as the saying goes, the silent man never consents. Yeah, so the child goes away and that's anything, and then the consequence comes. You see, so you have to train the child to understand that. Now, before you decide to do anything, you see, there are certain things that there are some principles in life that we don't understand. Now, it is God who determines our purpose of life. It's God who determines it. But our destiny is our own hands. Our destiny is determined by the choices and decisions that we make. Understand? So if you take a decision, a wrong decision, you might derail your whole course of life. Understand? So you as a parent must teach the child that if you do this, you're going to have this problem. You are very likely to go off board and stuff like that. So you don't have to allow yourself to say, I'm going to do my own stuff and learn from my experience. Yeah, it might not work for you.
Wow.
Okay, let me add a little to it.
Okay.
Like when a parent tells you not to do this and you rebel and do it, sometimes the consequence will be a scar in your life and you cannot erase it. And so that whenever you see the scar, then it brings some pains and sorrow to you. So it's better we adhere to whatever advice that those who have gone ahead of us given to us, so that we will not regret in the future.
One other challenge that I see with African parents, and they are easily agitated when they hear it, is our relationship with the opposite sex. Immediately they won't even have time to digest and know how to go about it. when they hear, they just act, and then they even, I think their actions have influence on you, and it makes you act like, okay, if this is what I want and they don't want, I will do what I want. So I want to know, as African parents, how best should we deal with our children when we see that they are into relationships or they are getting into the opposite sex?
Yes. You see, you may not have been on the youth platform when I taught the youth about life and dating. And not quite recently, there was this program that I sent to a few of the youth. I was talking seriously about the dangers, especially, we being Africans, you understand, we being Africans, and more especially with the boys. The boys, when they begin to come to you as a girl, there's most likely one thing on their mind. Most likely one thing on your mind. But then it is better. It is better for you to, or you as a parent, you bring a child to encourage him or her to know how to stay put. Stay put. Now, it is now. I told my girls that now you knew how you were when you were children, and when you became adolescent, and when you grew up into maturity, or like late teens and that kind of thing. Yeah, your physiological being changed. Yeah, you understand. So there are times that you have to know that at this time I don't have to do this, I don't have to do that. Now when I get to a certain age, now you can begin to get into certain things more seriously. Yeah, but with great caution. Yeah, but if it's just like, oh, if I have to go along with boys, as a girl, or I have to go along with girls as a go along because
everybody is doing it.
You are wrong. Yeah, you have to go accordingly, step by step. As one step after the other. But if you rush into it, you're making a lot of mistakes. You're making a lot of mistakes.
Okay, I would say that, if you are underage and your mother sees you in this area, of course, your parents will be angry because they know that is not time for you. So that one, it is natural. But if you are of age, here I would say that mothers should be open out to their children. So that whatever thing that is going on in their life, they will also be open out to be able to come to you and tell you whatever is going. Else, they will, because maybe that relationship is not there, so the child will not be able to come to you, and you hear something outside. Then, so parents should have a way of opening up to their children so that they can talk to them about anything.
Let me add a little thing.
Okay.
I remember it was with Elsie. Elsie came around one time and told me, some stuff. Some steps she was taking. We're getting into relationship. So we were talking, and then all she was saying, I told Elsie, "You're okay in every book." Oh, I said, "Stop. I want to." You understand? So now you have to let the child know, or you as a parent, to let the child understand what she's doing. And I said, if she understands it, yeah, better. But if you don't make her understand it, or you don't make him understand, then it becomes a big problem. You understand? So you, as a parent, you must be able to bring the child in the way that he or she will understand you. Do this, don't do that. Sit here, stand up, go here, go there. Yeah, but if you take anything at all for granted, then obviously you mess things up.
I believe she sounded book because we know the kind of parent we are. If you don't come well, it's trouble. So we had to prepare using the right terms so that we can be able to be convincing enough. And it didn't work. All too soon, our time is up, and we are so much grateful to have every one of you watching us and contributing to what is being done here. Mommy and Daddy, I would like to ask this question before we go. So, because this generation and parenting sometimes becomes so much overwhelming. And I have seen some parents, you can see it is eating them up, but and it is serious, it is eating them up, but sometimes it is not only a challenge with like parents and the child, but it is public to everybody. So I will ask, as a parent, if your child has a bad behavior or is in a state that is challenging, and this condition is public, in terms of stigma, judgment, and shame, blame from others, what can you do? Everybody is seeing that this is what your child is doing, and I would say it's not something that you can keep it inside, but it's obvious that he or she is not turning up okay. As a parent, what do you do in terms of confrontation with others, or like being in the society where your child is out there and it is visible to everybody?
Now, one fundamental thing that every parent will have to understand is that to a very large extent, what comes out of a child is to some degree your fault. So you as a parent, in fact, don't ever think of ignoring the child. Never. That one is a no-go area. You really ignore the child, but you have to see now. Basically, you have to derive strength from God, direction, where it needs medical stuff or whatever psychological stuff. You go in all out with the child because now you don't point fingers at anybody. You don't point fingers. To some large extent, it is the result of what you did or perhaps what you didn't do. Understand? So you have to take some amount of blame. So you have to put your hand on deck, ask God for directions and whatever. You need to do this job. Otherwise, in fact, you would have lost the lost battle. That's what I have to say.
Okay, I'll add this to it that right from childhood, I think every parent should be a ladder for the child to climb on, so that when the child does not know what is good or what is right or wrong, you will be a ladder for the child. And when he gets old, she becomes adult and she wants to choose for himself or take decision for himself. And like you are saying, something happened and things go on. I believe that should be the time that you should love the child the more. You should not look at the shame or how people are pointing fingers, but it will be an opportunity for you to get closer to the child. There's something I want to, he says, a good parenting is doing the right thing when the child is doing the wrong thing. So that you must be there for the child, of course, by prayer, as we said, that there is nothing that is difficult for God. So as we should not ignore them at all, but rather we should get closer to them, we should love them, and with prayer, I believe there can be a restoration.
Wow. I have Andy come online. He is saying that she will tell you quietly and then fix. Mommy will tell you quietly and you fix your face. I don't know what he means, but she will tell you quietly, then tell you to your face. Oh, okay. So when it comes to how mommy deals with when they misbehave, that is what he wants to say. That I think mommy talks with the face, and then you don't see her agitation in her body. Wow. Judith is saying, please complete all your questions. Oh, don't worry, I will complete all my questions. Don't worry. I think mommy and daddy, they have helped us with most of the questions that we had. I don't know if you have some questions, you can just pose it out to us. Oh, okay. I know Judith had a question for us the last time we did something about a parenting skill. That is what she wants to. Let me see if I can find the question. I promised her I was going to give her an answer. Yes, the last time Judith asked, should training be different on each child's behavior? On how should training be different on each child someone have, or it should be same to avoid sibling rival? Mommy and daddy.
Okay. In fact, personally, like I'm coming from this angle, like a Sunday school teacher.
Mm-hmm.
I always tell my mentee that if you are teaching, you have to handle every student individually,
Mm-hmm.
knowing their strengths and their weaknesses. Understand? Because, like for instance, you don't have to ask. You know that naturally there's a child who might not be so good, and then you intentionally ask him or her a very difficult question. I'm like to embarrass him or her. You understand? It's not the best. In fact, he might not come to class anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Understand? So you have to do that. In fact, and to some extent, the same thing with the children. Now you know how each child takes it. There are some children that, like you are saying, mommy will look at them, blink the eye, and it's okay with, perhaps a little bit of pep talk again. But for another child, so hard, so you have to go. But you as a child don't have to look at it as mommy laughs or daddy loves this child more than me. He loves Nancy more than me, or he loves Andy more. You understand? Yeah. So you as a parent must be able to discern and know that with this child, if I want to talk to her about something, I'm going to be sure I talk to her alone.
Mm-hmm.
Or because of what this other child done. If I'm talking, I'm being generalizing, I'll have to bring all of them together and talk to them about it, because there's a likelihood that they might all fall to the same page. Understand? That's what it depends. So you as a parent, you must be smart enough to know that this child is this, and the other child is that of another kind. So you handle. So it's better handle them differently.
I will argue that there should be times that you call all of them, talk to them generally if you want to give advice. And as you are saying, there should be other times too that you handle them individually according to what you want to communicate to them.
Okay, there is another question here that says, how did you handle, okay, I think this is a personal question to you. He said, how did you handle different stages of challenges in your children's life? Can you make some examples? How did you deal with different stages of challenges in your children's life? Some examples.
Okay, maybe not directly, but the child, you see, the underlying factor is this. As a child, a parent must bring the child to know how to obey. The first verse in Ephesians chapter 6 says that children obey your parents in the Lord, for this right honor. But then in between obedience and honor, is another word about respect. You understand? So you as their parents, you must bring the children up in a time when they are more or less innocent. You must help them to know how to obey. When they get to their adolescent ages, and they think they know something, you must let them know, in spite of their knowledge, they actually don't know anything. You must make them be able to respect. And then when they have grown up, in fact, up to now, I honor my mother. Understand? I'm over 60, but I honor my mother. So you as a parent, you have to know the different stages that you have to handle them. There might not be some very specific things that you may have to do, but depend upon there's circumstances that they arise. You as a parent, like you must know that the child, no matter what, if it is age, must be age. But when you come to the time that the child knows things, things I know my way. I know my way. That I must bring that to know that no, in spite of what you know, you must respect your parents. So it depends on the stages that they are. Fathers, they are also very, very important.
Okay, I have been corrected here. Elsie says she will correct you quietly and tell you to fix your face. Okay, so even if you are angry, she has told you quietly, she has corrected you quietly, but like don't show your anger or what mommy is telling you for everybody to see. Wow, okay. Thank you so much, Elsie, for explaining that. All too soon, our time is up, and I'll give mommy and daddy to the privilege to give us their final words. We have been so much blessed by their time they have spent with us, teaching us or letting us know some of the challenges parents face and then what they need to do. So, Elder and Mrs. Tando, please can you give us your final words?
Okay. What I want to say, my final word is, we must know that parenting means sacrifice. Sacrifice, not sacrifice like you have to buy big things for your child, but even in a small way. I'll use my house as an example. Like, I always find Andy in his room. I don't understand. I said, why don't you? Sometimes you'll be in the living room with us, and all of a sudden he'll come to his room, and you ask him, because sometimes I will want him to be around us, and he says, now if I'm here, the things that you are watching, I don't have interest in them. For example, in our house, I think maybe there's a CNN pool in this house. So you will always see CNN, BBC, Sky. And so this boy, sometimes you see that he's very angry that you come to his room. So I want the parents also to sacrifice sometimes, even in these areas, so that sometimes we allow them. Here we are in Italy, but it's hard for us to listen to Diane, and so he can't handle this. So please, if we want them to be around us, we should sometimes sacrifice even the small things, so that the relationship or the atmosphere will be good. We should create a good atmosphere for the children, so that they will not go away, but they will always be around. That's final word.
Wow, thank you.
Okay. Okay, and what I may have to say is this, that, like I quoted from this scripture, that we should train up the child the way he should go, not depart from it. It's very good to take our children to church, to Sunday school, when they're up in the fear and the knowledge of God. And prayer is very, very powerful. But we have to bring the children in a way that they know how to make the right decisions and choices. Because it is those things that will bring them success. And then also as children, there's one principle that the children must know, that there's no way you can enter into your the fulfillment of destiny without honoring the point where you entered, where you entered into humanity. So as your parents, children as your parents, you must know how you honor them, so that the Bible says that then you find good success in life. The Lord is going to bless you so much. So that's what I have to say.
Wow, thank you so much. We have learned so much, and we know that it will help us in our journey as parents. Our wonderful family out there, we are so much grateful for making time with us. This is the Virtuous Woman, and we bring you what will help you in your journey, not only spiritually, but all aspects of your life. If you missed the other series on the parenting, we have already done parenting skills, and so you can go back and watch, and then you add this one to it. We have known lots of the challenges that parents face. We know it is not an easy job. It will take everybody individually, as a group, with the society, the church. Everybody is to put his or a quota, so that we can all grow our children or parent them to become better adults in the future. Mommy and daddy have spoken about sacrificing, not only doing what we want as parents, but do things together with the whole family. As parents, we need to get experts to talk to our children about their career, because we don't know. If you don't know, you ask for help. If you know, you can help your children to also make better choices. We have spoken about their relationship with opposite sex, what we need to do as parents. We have spoken about we wanting to raise children we want, and not the one that God wants them to be. So everybody has a purpose. Daddy made us understand that our purpose, God has it, but the destiny, it is in our own hands. We choose it, and so we need to be careful enough, as the Bible says, train up the child the way he should go, so that when he's grown up, he will never forget. He will not forget, or he will not go wayward. So much of the work is on us as parents. Above all, what we can do is to pray for our children. We can also pray for our children. It is very, very important, because our eyes may not be everywhere. So the time that we will not be there, God will supernaturally intervene and bring back our children who have gone wayward. Will bring them back to track. Thank you so much for making time with us. God richly bless you, and make time with us for the next episode. God richly bless you. Bye for now.